Today's Morning First Alert Weather Show is brought to you by Sam Bernstein Law.
Well, good Tuesday morning, Mid-Michigan. I'm First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro here with a look at your First Alert forecast on this First Alert weather show. And of course, the big thing that we're tracking here in the forecast right now is that next round of snowfall that we have on the way for this upcoming evening. Not expected to be a lot of snow per se, but as it does move in, we do expect a bit of a heavier burst of snowfall out of this system. One thing to keep in mind before we dive into a few more details on the forecast is the fact that this snow, kind of almost like a summer rainstorm in a way, where it comes in pretty quick, but then it also leaves pretty quick too. So most areas we likely are only going to see the snow actually falling for maybe about 3 hours at the very most, or just a little bit longer than that. So this is not going to be a system that really sticks around for the long term here. It's really confined to about a 5-hour window completely for the entire TV5 area. So we are still tracking that for the evening. And I'll say too, with this snow that we're tracking this evening too, if you do have any plans later this evening, maybe some dinner plans, of course, this is still a pretty big time of year for winter sports as well. If your students have winter sports or winter activities that run a bit later into the evening, you will have to factor in some extra time for your transportation to and from those events. But before we reach the snowfall this evening, it's actually going to be pretty quiet here for the rest of the morning and through the middle of the day. Let's take a look at downtown Flint right now. It looks pretty nice in downtown Flint, actually. Some peaks of blue sky coming in there on our camera this morning too. As we've gone throughout the morning, no doubt it's been a cool morning, but we have had some pretty quiet weather, and roads have had plenty of time to recover since yesterday morning, especially in our southern counties. There's CMU's campus in Mount Pleasant. We're taking a look at Brooks Hall there. Fun fact, that's where the meteorology program at CMU is located. And there's a live look at I-75 in Birch Run as well. Exit 136. Also looks pretty nice there as of right now too. So we are going to keep tracking just a pleasant remainder of the morning, but if you do have maybe any lunch plans here, you won't have to worry about the roads, but you might still want to grab that heavy jacket because it is only about 19 degrees out right now. There's I-75 in Flint Township too, looking southbound towards Miller and Bristol Road. That's a little bit around the bend there, but you have Flint GM Assembly or rather a Flint Assembly in the background there. Looks pretty nice though as we approach the late morning hours. So again, if you do have any plans here in the near term, you definitely don't have anything to worry about on our roadways for the time being. Well, let me take you over here to our planner for this upcoming evening. So if you do have any of that travel plan, like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we do expect really up until about 5 o'clock. Roads are still going to be in fine shape, but after 5 o'clock, as that snow starts moving in, that's when we do expect some slick areas to develop. So if you do have some dinner plans later in the evening, or of course your students' after-school sports or activities, say if they have a basketball game that runs until 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, then certainly the ride back home from the game is going to have some slick travel that could be a little bit reminiscent of what we saw yesterday morning with that snowfall moving through. And this should be a pretty quick burst of snowfall as well. Some of our heaviest snowfall rates could reach about 1/2 inch per hour, but with that though, that should really only last for maybe an hour or two in any given location. So we aren't going to have the 1/2 inch per hour rates for say 4 or 5 hours or anything like that. It's really just going to be a quick burst of an hour or two of that really heavy snow. Otherwise though, this system is pretty much completely out of here at 10 o'clock this upcoming evening. After that, the rest of the night is going to be pretty quiet too. We just have a few lingering flurries as we go throughout the remainder of the night. Let's go through the hour by hour first, and then we'll take a look at the snow totals, which again, on average with the snow totals, only about 1 to 2 inches. So it certainly does not look to be a very heavy snow, at least from the accumulation standpoint. But let's fast forward this hour by hour up to noon. So again, lunchtime looks great for today. Here we are at about 5 o'clock this evening. So that snow will start picking up from the northwest first. Houghton Lake, Clare, West Branch, those are some of the first areas that will see the snowfall. It'll still be a bit lighter at the onset of it too, but as we fast forward towards about 6 o'clock, and then we'll even go towards 7 o'clock this evening, see how there are some of those deeper blues coming in on the map around Midland or Standish or the Tawas Bay. That's indicating those heavier snowfall rates that could reach up to about ½ an inch per hour. So even though we have 5 o'clock for the start time of the snow, that's really for our northwest areas like Houghton Lake. It will be closer to about 6 or even 7 by the time the snow reaches the Bay region or the Tri-Cities, and then almost closer to 7 or maybe even 8 that some of that snow reaches Flint. So it will take some time for it to progress towards our southern areas, and that includes the thumb as well. By 8 o'clock this evening, though, this is where we expect the sort of heavy burst of snow. Again, that should last for only about an hour or two in any given spot. That should be into the Flint area, the Owasso area, also towards Perry at about 8 o'clock, and then extending northeast into the thumb. And then let's go towards 10 o'clock. Notice at 10 o'clock, other than just sort of a lingering snow shower on the trailing edge of that system, really by then the system snow is already out of here, and then the rest of the night we just have some of these lingering flurries that should carry into tomorrow morning as well, and that's purely just lake effect at this point by the time we go into Wednesday. But here's our snow totals for this evening. So we are going to be expecting about a trace to 2 inches of snow for our southern areas like Flint. We even have Saginaw, Bay City, and Midland all included in trace to 2 inches, as well as Clare. 1 to 3 inches for Houghton Lake, Whittemore, Bad Axe, getting closer to that line. Gladwin or Beaverton, those will be places that are in the 1 to 3. Technically, we have Cass City in the 1 to 3 as well. But really, it's kind of splitting hairs with some of these snow totals. We've been saying, again, on average, about 1 to 2 inches from the system. So really outright not a lot of snowfall. It's just the fact that it'll come in here really over just a couple of hours during the upcoming evening, so a pretty quick snowfall. But this system here, we've seen the snow totals actually decreasing a little bit since yesterday evening, mainly with the upper end of some of these totals. So last night we had 2 to 4 inches in the blue areas, which we now have at 1 to 3, but we were seeing that previously, that some spots like Houghton Lake or Rose City, or even Oscoda possibly could have reached up to about that 4-inch mark, and maybe even a fringe area in northern Huron County like Port Austin. But that chance has essentially gone away as of this morning, and all of the continuous new runs of data that we've received throughout the morning here keep just lowering those totals, or kind of keeping that trend of lower totals a bit more. And even 3 inches looks like it may be hard to reach for most of those northern areas too. So again, not really concerned too much about the amount of snow with this system. It's more just how quickly that'll be moving in here for the evening. If you do have just any of those weekday late evening plans, or maybe you work late so you don't get out of work until about 6 or 7 in the evening, your drive home will likely start to see some snowy roads again. So just wanted to let you all know about that with these, rather with this system coming in. And looking over in the comments on the Facebook live stream, which I'll say too, I do monitor that live, so if you have any questions or if you have any weather reports that you want to submit, just feel free to put them in the comments. Derek is asking, what does the snow predictor show for totals for the Alma, Mount Pleasant area? Let me go ahead and pull up the snow predictor real quickly for you as well. The snow predictor is going to look pretty similar to our snowfall map here. So we have a trace to 2 inches for the Alma and Mount Pleasant area, and then the snow predictor here through even 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's still only showing about 1 to really 1.7, call that 2 inches, about 1 to 2 inches for the Alma to Mount Pleasant area too. So you can see here, even looking at the snow predictor, which this is essentially the raw model data that we're looking at, does line up pretty well with our map. On average, again, about 1 to 2 for most of our area. So certainly, again, not looking at a ton of snowfall here, but this 1 to 2 inches will fall over the course of only about 2 to 3 hours for many areas for the upcoming evening. So once we get behind the system, though, we are going to be tracking Some quieter weather, though, for the remainder of the work week from here. Even though this week is still going to be cooler, we do have one day in the 40s coming up later this week. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break real quick, and then when we come back from the break, we'll just talk a little bit more about that extended forecast, too. Okay, so taking a look at our extended forecast, we are going to be tracking really a fairly quiet remainder of the work week after the snow moves through this upcoming evening. So the snow that we have ahead of us for the evening really is kind of the big thing for this entire week. Well, let me show you the 7-day forecast that we have here. Our 7-day forecast shows just a few of those lingering flurries as we go into tomorrow. Thursday has continued to trend even drier. So Thursday actually just looks like a partly cloudy day. Friday actually appears to be mostly sunny at this point too. So that was also one of the trends that we were noticing this morning. Perhaps a bit more sun towards the end of this work week, although maybe a bit brief, but does look to be some brighter skies, possibly kind of similar to what we have out there right now. I'll actually show you once again Flint. In Flint Township, this is I-75 at Miller Road. Friday may look kind of like this, where you have some of those thinner, high-level clouds, some peaks of blue sky here and there as well. Let's go back over to that 7-day. As we go into the weekend, we just have an isolated chance for some snow showers late in the day on Saturday, and at least at the onset of that right now. Still doesn't look to be anything very widespread or very heavy for Saturday evening. The majority of that system is staying south of us into Indiana and Ohio, but that's just where the trend has kind of been heading for right now, that possibly we just get clipped by some isolated snow showers late in the day on Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that, but just know for now that that does not look to be anything very major if you do have any weekend plans, particularly on Saturday evening. But you do notice the temperatures, so 32 today, 27 tomorrow, and then 31 on Thursday, and we have a low of 26 for tonight. One kind of interesting thing here, even about tonight and tomorrow, is that the temperatures will kind of be flatlined for a bit. We really don't see much movement at all with our temperatures over the next 24 hours once we go into tonight and then the daytime tomorrow. And then we'll be back to about 31 on Thursday, and then Friday we do have 46. So that's going to be no doubt the warmest day of the work week. Part of that is being driven by the breeze. So notice that we do have breezy there for Friday. Looks like some of those wind gusts could reach up to about 30 miles per hour, and generally a bit more of a southerly wind on Friday. We're getting close to that time of year where when we start to have these warm-ups like this, and this is a wider look at some of those potential high temps for Friday, usually at this time of year, some warmer days like this are going to come with a bit of a breeze, especially if it's just sort of one day that's warm like this, surrounded by some colder days. So we're starting to get closer to that time of year again, so I would expect some breezy conditions Friday. The trade-off with the breeze, though, is the warmer temps that we're expecting. And then we'll just see those temps falling again as we go into the weekend, with 35 on Saturday and then 25 on Sunday. And then the beginning of next week should also start off a bit cooler, with highs generally into the mid-20s as well. But really, again, extended forecast for the rest of the work week after this evening. That is going to be pretty quiet. For today, though, with the breeze, too, because we also have the breeze noted for today, we do expect some gusts near 30 miles per hour by the afternoon, and then about 25 miles per hour this evening, and generally more of a southerly wind as well. So if you do have the trash can outside, or maybe just any lighter items like that, you may end up seeing them tipped over later on today. Doesn't look to be the windiest day we've ever had, but certainly a bit breezy as we go into this afternoon. So I just wanted to highlight that here in the forecast as well. But we'll take a look one last time here at that planner for the rest of the day, and especially the rest of this morning. If you have any sort of travel plans or lunch plans, no worries about the roads, and even for the afternoon up until about 5 o'clock. It's after 5 o'clock the snow starts to move in, and it will start from the northwest. So we'll see some areas like Saginaw or even Flint likely closer to 6 or 7 o'clock when the snow actually starts to arrive. But by the late evening especially, we do expect some slower travel as a result of the snow. And then by 10 o'clock, the snow is pretty much gone. Only just a few lingering flurries as we go throughout the remainder of tonight. But that's all we have for you in the First Alert Weather Show for this morning. So just be sure to stay tuned here through the rest of the day. It does seem like the timing and the totals are locking in pretty well with the system. So I wouldn't really expect too many major changes at this point. So just something to monitor here, though, for the rest of the day. And also, good morning to Cherry Hetrick in Gladwin. Hope you're having a great Tuesday as well. But stay tuned here at noon today. We'll have First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips bringing you another look at the forecast. And then at 2 o'clock, she'll also have another First Alert weather show on all of these live stream channels. So that'll also be a closer look at the forecast as well. So just be sure to stay tuned for that. Hope you have a great remainder of your Tuesday morning. And if you do have to travel later this evening, just wishing you safe travels as well.